Yeah, so just gonna try to fix up one of my screw ups here. This is the Ibanez RG120, and I put the locking nut on too far in. I unfortunately cut the rosewood in too far, and there's no way you can get intonated. It's way out of whack, so I have to bring it back basically to where the stock was. I think that's the stock cut there, well, where I cut it. Or maybe it's factory cut, I'm not sure. But that's where the stock nut sat. Just got to bring it back the 1/4 inch and get it into tune. So I'll get started on that and do some updates on how I do it. Basically, I'm going to have to measure from right where the string touches the saddle to the 12th fret, and then make sure that distance is exactly the same as the locking nut. And I'm also going to modify this locking nut. Why it has such large gateways for the string to go through, I don't know. So it's going to lower them down till it's the normal kind of slight notch that is all required to keep the strings in. Using a string holder from StewMac to keep the strings out of the way while I do this. I could just take them off, I guess, but I want to try that out. Okay, so I'll try to update what I do to it and how I get it done. So I've got my filler piece. Didn't know what to use. I was going to use dice or like something fancy, but I just found this pencil and it happened to kind of fit. I just file it down to get the right height, and it'll kind of be the filler for when the bridge goes back or the nut goes back in. And then I took the nut and I ground down the gargantuan string guides, and now it's just like a normal, it's still huge string slots to hold the string in place. And I also ground down the top of the Allen head nuts, or hex head nuts, and then took a air cutoff saw and just cut a little notch in there for a notch screwdriver, or sorry, flat screwdriver. That's all you really need. Don't need much tension to hold the string down. It's just probably like 4 or 5 foot-pounds you need on each one of these tiny machine bolts, so should be good. And hopefully that'll keep it out of the way. It's one of my biggest complaints, like the intonation was out, but worse off was this thing got in your way every time you went to go to the first fret. It was kind of catching, so get the huge barbs out of the way and lower the tops of the bolt heads, which don't need to be that big at all. Okay, so now I'll glue that in and bolt this down and shim it up. It has to be shimmed up a little bit too. It's a bit too low on the first fret, the string action, so I'll put a little shim in there and kind of be like that. It's a bit hokey, but it'll get it playing again. Just use some OxyClean Miracle Foam to clean up the fretboard a bit. Reason why I use this because it's the only thing in the drawer and I grabbed it right away. Then use some 1000 grit sandpaper just to go over the rosewood and frets a bit, just to brighten them up a bit and take care of any sharp edges on the sides of the frets, and also make the rosewood smoother. So if you do bend this, these aren't jumbo frets, these are regular frets, so the string will slide easily on the rosewood. Now it's hard as a rock and very slippery. Really liking these StewMac string holders. They work great. Keep the strings right off the fretboard and do whatever you want to it with the string still on. So just waiting for the parts to dry, and I'll go ahead and put some linseed oil down, and it'll be hopefully ready for the locking nut, and then that should be about it. Space or adjust the nut height and go from there. Just remove this clamp here. Pencil should be glued in now. Ah yes, just like Ivan designed it. A pencil fretboard. Wonderful. Just finally got the nut reinstalled. Had to shim it up using a few 10-thou slices of metal shim, and then put a couple dimes in behind just to take out that gap where the nut's sitting on something the whole way, just for fun to use something. So finally got about a 25-thou clearance in the first fret. 24, I guess. So yeah. So next stop will be just setting up and getting it all in tune. So that's pretty much about it for this project. See how low the nut is. There we go. Got a Canadian and American just for fun. It's in the shim stock. So it looks totally messed, but kind of different and quirky. But at least it'll play again. Intonation will be okay, and nut height or string height will be good at the first fret. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah. And also the locking nut won't get in my way all the time. Okay, hopefully that'll work. See the follow-up video and it should be good. Oh, some linseed oil time. Put a little linseed oil on the fretboard here. Those string spreaders work great for keeping the strings off the fretboard right wide open without even removing the strings. So, linseed oil time, and then lock the strings, tune it then lock it, and that'll be it. That's the final nut job. Looks bizarre and silly, but it'll work. Like a lot lower here for items to catch in your hand. The string height's right, and the intonation's correct at the right measurement for the scale. Okay. Oh, and the fretboard's nice and it's a wood grain coming through now. Picks up in the camera, but pretty much a done deal. And that's how you fix a total screw up with another total screw up. Happening.